Suryakantham. Today we have another exciting guest with us. Comes with the experience, like vast experience in storytelling. Suryakantham, at last.
So they understand what is the challenge of the management and other things also, and then they all fall into place together.
And how you manage the team, and then what is your methodology. But now talking about the totally different kind of projects. So you have worked both inside and out in the UN and the private sector. How does context reshape and as well as delivery? So delivery, it means different in IT and that when you go for a UN project. So what rules change when the mission is in profit?
In a different kind of supervisory role, or they don't have to worry about how their appraisal will go, depending on what kind of behavior they show.
All right. Welcome back, viewers, to our another exciting episode of our podcast series, The Young Turk Dialogues by Crobstacle. And today we have another exciting guest with us who comes with the experience, like vast experience in storytelling. Suryakantham, at last, after so long, we are now on the podcast. How are you feeling today?
Oh, I'm feeling really awesome, and yes, I know that I have kept you on hold for a very long time, but I'm finally glad that I could make this onto this podcast. I'm very happy to meet you, Anmol.
Though that's exciting. Our audience is the one who is the most excited because we told them this is the kind of guest who we are bringing in. And everybody was like, yes, do a podcast with her.
Yeah, thank you,
So,
thank you very much.
yes. So, Suryakantham, you have so vast experience. One of the most recognized is UN and working in places where a normal human don't go generally. And you have been working there for years, multiple times, multiple places. So, of course, with so much of experience, I won't be able to do justice about, giving an introduction about you. So, why not you tell a bit about yourself to our audience so that they know exactly?
Yeah. So let me start with something like I have a penchant for getting into trouble. I have a penchant for getting into challenges. Sometimes inviting the challenges where a challenge is not there or even it's not existing, and that's how I am. That's my personality, and I would love to lead a very stable life, like many others do. Like I see a lot of my colleagues who have been working in maybe in IT companies or somewhere else for years together, and they're growing in the same career, same path. Maybe they started as a software engineer and then they become a tech lead and then they become an architect, something like that. But that is not the path for me. It never
Yeah,
works for
you
me.
chose
Though
something
I
else.
always wish to stay in one single company for a very long time or in a single role. It never gelled with me. I'm not that kind of a person. Somehow, something at some point of time, I become a little bit bored. I feel the need for a challenge. I feel the need for something new to explore and get my hands dirty, especially in areas where I don't have any skill. So it is always like I'm learning everything, not everything maybe. I'm always learning a new skill or working in a new area that I have no idea about, no clue about, but I don't mind doing that. Yes, it does feel, put me in a discomfort zone, very much in a discomfort zone. Sometimes I get scared also if I'm being foolish or whether I'm, making the right decisions or not. But end of the day, I see everything is connected. So I started off my career as a technical writer in an IT
Yeah.
company. And 8 years later, I did my project management professional certification and Scrum Master and all those agile certifications. And when I started applying for project management positions, most of my supervisors, the so-called good colleagues, friends, even my family, they all advised and said that, hey, you don't have any technical experience. You're not a software engineer or whatever. And probably you're going to burn your hands and risk your career itself. But I thought like, okay, it's okay, fine, even if I do that. But I still wanted to get into it because project management has the other word called management in it, which is very luring for me, which is very tempting. And so I went in, and of course, I never faced any failure. Luckily, in the early career, at least as a project manager, I did face a lot of challenges. But despite having no technology background, so I come from a journalism and communication background, and the master's degree, and I have been a gold medalist in that also. And I have some other past achievements, but then past is past. So I don't dwell too much on that. So I learned, I got into project management. I faced a lot of challenges. The biggest challenge that I faced was being mocked at probably at some point of time, and being also posing or having to deal with certain challenges, like, challenging questions like, hey, you don't have any technology background. What can you do? You're not even the right fit. So we are like, some people said, like, we are like top or whatever they say, right? We are the masters in this field. We have, we know, we have come from an architectural background, or maybe as a software engineer, or we have burned our hands in that. We know what is coding. We know what it means to deal with a client on a technology perspective and all that stuff. Whereas you have none. So where does your confidence comes from? Where does it come from, right? Where does your confidence
Yes.
come from? And how do you think that you can actually even surpass us in terms of your team's delivery, and do a good job? We doubt that, like, probably one project, the first project itself, probably it could be something like, you might fail in as quick as in under a month. But that never happened, and they were surprised. People were surprised around me. Of course, I was also surprised, because though I believed in myself and I had the confidence, uh, I was also in a way surprised, because I was able to, at the end of the day, deal with clients on technology related stuff and all. So what I did, how my where my confidence stems from, is that whatever I do, I ensure that I have the right base in that. The foundations are very clear. So I have very solid foundation in whatever work I do, whether it is technical writing or project management, program management. My basics are all very fine. And I mostly look at the business requirements, because at the end of the day, whatever we are developing for the client, it is all technology related stuff. So that delivery is in the form of an app or a software, right?
Right.
But essentially, what we are doing is, we are, in one sense, maybe people will kill me if I use the word automation, but we are automating the process in a certain way, right? That's
Right.
what it boils down to. So I understand business very well.
Hmm.
Any business, any domain, even if I don't have any clue around it, the core things that actually form the core for any business, the business processes, like hiring, like getting a workflow done, end-to-end workflow. Maybe I may not know all the details in it, but definitely I know at a high level what it means, and I do my research very well. I do a research on the business aspect, the business requirements and everything. And whatever the client says, when we have our client discussions and all that, customer, whatever, I pay a lot of attention to the detail and to the immediate business urgency that they have. So even if we get a project, like, let's say, of a duration of for like a 1 year or 2 years later, we are supposed to, deliver it. In the sense, the entire project is done, end of is considered like have come to a close, end of 1 year or 2 years. But in between, because we are using agile processes and everything, so we deliver it every sprint wise or whatever. But still, end of the closure of the project is only at the end of that 1 year or 2 years, whatever it is, right? I ensure that when I'm speaking to the customers, I see what is their business urgency. So I don't get into gold plating and all that, but I ensure I look at their urgency, and that is how I look at the features also. Whatever features they want us to develop, I look at it from that perspective, and I give my teams, any team that I work with, uh, complete control over the project, in one sense. Like complete, I would say, maybe complete control over their own role. That's what I would say, their own role.
Hmm.
Plus I also give them the flexibility to move into and try and test out other roles. Like, for example, in one of my teams, my very first agile pilot project, what I did was, I gave the team a chance to play the role of a scrum master every
Ah,
sprint
yes.
for
Scrum
a couple
Master.
of days, so under guided. Okay, I used to guide them, I used to be there, and I used to help them, so they understand what is the challenge of the management and other things also. And then they all fall into place together, and it is like, they all sync very fast. So this is the kind of thing that I do everywhere that I go. So if whether there is agile, it is okay, fine, agile thing. But whichever team I have worked with, whenever I work with people, I ensure that they are comfortable. I
Hmm.
ensure that,
Very good.
yeah, they don't have to hide anything from me, because I'm a manager or something like that, or I'm in a different kind of a supervisory role, or they don't have to worry about how their appraisal will go, depending on what kind of behavior they show up. I ensure that they show the best of themselves, they bring the best of their skills to the table. So that's where my confidence stems from, and I trust people. So even when I come into and join a new company, or when I'm part of a new team, everyone is new to me. Probably the team members know one another very well, but I'm new to them totally. The first thing that I do is I always trust them. I take the first step in trusting them, and that earns me back. And my teams
That's
have
very
always been.
important.
I'm also like, I take pride in saying that my teams have always been very happy with me, and they remember me even now when I'm not working with them. That's
That's good. That's a very clear introduction.
And
So
UN was a different thing altogether when I
yes,
went to the UN.
I was
Yeah.
coming to that.
We will
So
discover some of it when we are, we'll get through your questions.
no, that's where I'm starting with it now.
Thank you.
So you have worked on projects both inside. So you just gave a very and detailed introduction about how you worked in projects and how you manage the team, and then what is your methodology. But now talking about the totally different kind of projects. So you have worked both inside and out in the UN and the private tech projects. How does context reshape and as well as delivery? So delivery, it means different in IT and that when you go for a UN project. So what
Yes.
rules change when the mission isn't profit but people?
Very interesting question. One close to my heart. So I would say like context completely rewires what delivery means. So I focus a lot on context. So in private or IT technology companies, delivery is all about speed, efficiency, and measurable ROI, the KPIs and
Right.
everything. Okay, but in the UN, delivery is about impact, safety, and protecting vulnerable people. You're not just shipping a product; you're shaping consequences. That's what it's all about. So when the mission is people instead of profit, like you mentioned rightly, three rules change. So one is done isn't about features; it's about safety. A tool is only delivered if it can be used when putting someone at risk, without putting someone at risk, whether that's political, physical, or social. The second part of it is that stakeholders are not customers, they're communities. So you learn to navigate cultural nuance, power dynamics, and human emotion in ways product maps don't account for, which is very different from how tech companies run, right? And
Right.
then success is measured in trust, not metrics. In the UN, a rollout is successful if people feel protected enough to adopt it, no matter how elegant the solution is on paper. So, working across both the worlds taught me this, that delivery isn't just an output; it's a responsibility. End of the day, and the higher the human cost, the I would say, the tighter the duty of care is. Yeah,
Very interesting.
yeah. It's
So
entirely different from how we operate
yes,
in the
tech
normal
projects.
space.
No, even the part when you said that. So you like to, challenge yourself. You like to get into challenges situations. So that explains that. What you, how. So both are two different aspects. Tech, you have to deliver project. Here you are making an impact in such a sensitive zone.
Correct.
So yeah, I think that gives the answer. So talking about story or strategy, which one leads when a product is failing?
Now you shouldn't give me a choice like this, because the choice is wrong. There is no choice between these two. Yes, the way how we implement. Yes, I agree with your question that there is a choice in one sense. Strategy actually it sets the direction, but it's the story that rallies the team and stakeholders when things are falling apart. So you need a clear, honest narrative when the a product's failing. So you need to not fix the problem. What you're going to fix is the story, because here's what's like when we talk about, we need to communicate around what's broken, why we still believe in it even though it's broken, and how we are going to fix it, which will keep people aligned and willing to fight. Without that story, even the best strategy dies in silence. Right. So strategy, when something is falling apart, story is the most important thing, but in the long run, it is the strategy that matters.
Strategy gives you the path and story
Yes,
amplifies it.
yes, yes.
Very cool.
That's how it is. Yeah.
So in the trenches, what saved you more? What saved more launches for you actually? A refined roadmap or a reworked narrative?
I would say a reworked narrative, because a perfect roadmap fails even no one if no one believes in it, right? And a compelling story turns of even a flawed plan into a shared mission. when timelines slip or when there are scope changes, or then that's when the narrative or the story becomes the glue, and that holds the team and stakeholders together, because you need to over communicate at that point of time. And it's a you already are living the roadmap. When you're saying reworked narrative, you're already living a roadmap, and that point of time you cannot really refine a roadmap, so you have to change the narrative. That's how it works. Yeah.
Narrative is very important.
Yes, narrative is
And
important.
this happened across worldwide, even with the tech projects, even with the UN projects, that timelines may fail, people may leave, but the narrative.
Yeah. So anywhere, like, whether it doesn't matter whether it's a UN or outside of UN or wherever. It doesn't have. There's nothing to do with UN in this kind of a context. What I would say is it's a universal rule that, maybe a universal truth that it's only a narrative that can be reworked upon. Reworked narrative works because you're already living the roadmap. You already created a roadmap, and that has set some direction. And when you're very much into the roadmap, at that point of time, somewhere something goes not so well, something fails probably, or something is falling apart. And at that point of time, you just need to rework on the narrative. And then that's how your roadmap actually evolves slowly, step by step, because you get some lessons learned from there, and then you implement those lessons, and again you keep on correcting your path. That's why I would say it's a reworked narrative.
Very informative. For the entrepreneurs who are watching this, you need to take a note of this. So our audience, they are most startup founders, entrepreneurs, and people who are trying to go to business. So this is very important for them. That's
Yeah.
why I asked you the question, because I have also struggled with this. So yes, overall narrative. So today we also got a learning. Very good learning from you. Now, so moving forward, so what's more critical today in today's world, a good product demo or a great founder deck? And so this is my first question, and then the second is, why do most team mess this up?
Why do most things? The second part, I guess I'll have to spend a little more time maybe. So the first part, what's more critical today, a good product demo or great founder deck? I would vote for a great founder deck. Why?
Okay,
Because
why?
a great founder deck, that is the one that shapes how people feel about the product even before they see it. So at the time of the when you're doing your pitch deck or whatever, what you call as a great founder deck, right? You still don't have your product or service ready. You have only ideated on it, you have visualized how it will be like, and you have visualized as to what its execution would feel like, what kind of people are going to onboard your team, and how it will make the end customer feel like, how it will make the investors feel like, all these things, right? How your team
Yeah.
will feel about it. So definitely it is a great founder deck, because you haven't seen anything, but it is the deck that actually communicates all this, and it is the one that sets the feeler going forward, and that's the one that also sets the tone for a team's I would say, for a team to be in sync, right? So most teams, why they mess this up? Yes, it's a very normal thing that teams mess it up often. So it is because when they're actually working on the product, when they're working on the service, when they're creating it, they tend to focus only on the features and the metric, and not the human problem or the actual business problem that is that this product or service might solve. So when your eyes are away, or they have moved away from the real problem, which we call as the business problem or the human problem, whatever the problem statement, when we navigate away from the problem statement, what happens? We tend to become very tech focused, or maybe very subject oriented around the features and metrics, and we try to build a great product or a service based on that. And so what happens? The focus is not there on the stakes, the emotional arc is missed out. A demo only shows capability, whereas it's a deck that shows conviction. So a deck is like a guiding factor for the entire team, uh, so as not to mess up by focusing only on features or metric. So I would say that teams need to actually go back to this founder deck in whatever form it is. So maybe initially when you're pitching it to the investors, it might have been in the form of a pitch deck or whatever. But end of the day, that must be in some kind of a project statement or whatever it is, and some other kind of a document. So people need to go back to that. Teams need to go back to that, revisit it every often, and then work on it, and then I believe that they may not be messing it up.
Hmm.
That's where it leads to.
Yeah, gives me a lot of context. Why few team members? Yeah, so with
Yeah,
us also.
context
So
is very
we,
important. Anywhere, context is important, right? Without
yeah.
context, you're actually missing out the heart and soul of the
Yes.
whatever innovation you're doing.
So recently, with one of the projects, my tech lead, he was coming to me that this guy is doing this and all of that, and I was like, "Why are you keep coming to me again and again?" So he told me the same thing, that these guys are missing context. How do I know? Give them. So I give them the document. Why they are still again and again missing the context? So yeah, that's where teams go insane with. Yeah. So that's there. So I just realized it now, as you said.
Yeah.
That's good. Cut
I hope
for
your
a
team
minute.
was able to overcome that kind of a hurdle.
Yes, they were. They were. No, so we also have gone through with those challenges, and then so whatever you are saying, so I am able to relate to actually all of that, because when you start a business, you actually go through all of these challenges, because no matter if it's a product driven business or a service business, there are projects that you do, and then you have team. And at the end, AI is not doing the work. You have people doing
Correct.
the work, and then they miss the
Yeah.
context. There is a lot of things. So managing
Because
human
that is a
power.
connecting dot. I mean, that connects all the dots. It's the thread, or as you say in Hindi or whatever, sutradhar for the entire
Yeah.
product or service from end to end.
Yes, no, but that is actually very clear. So the way you explain it, I think that makes the things very clear. So now I would like to talk. So let's say if a product launch went wrong tomorrow, what crisis playbook you are gonna play with?
Okay.
That it might be something you have learned at the UN.
Yeah, this is a kind of a crisis question for me in a sense. Yeah, just give me a second. Yeah, maybe I think from crisis communication point of view, I would say one should probably control the narrative early because it's a crisis, and speak with one voice, a unified voice, and over communicate with empathy. Because during a crisis, silence breeds panic.
Mm.
Okay, and
Right.
it can also mean, while it breeds panic in during a crisis, it can also mean the safe space for respect. It can also mean that you're protecting someone's story. It can also be interpreted as protecting someone's rights during a crisis. This is in a conflict zone. But during a product launch, silence can breed speculation. So I would
Okay.
activate a clear, transparent, and human-centered message within hours and not days. So during product launch, being silent around it can breed speculation, and it may even mislead or lead to some different kind of misinterpretation by different teams, and the story would be lost.
Two different worlds and two different ways.
Yes,
And you have lived both of them.
yes,
Imagining how difficult it would be. So at one place you have to tell everything, other place you have to make sure the things are staying private.
right.
So talking about the sensitive zones, so from Kabul to comic books, what have war zones taught you about product market fit or internal change? Because that this is something we have never discussed on our podcast.
This is a favorite question. I really like it very much because you're asking about what it taught me about working in war zones, taught me about product
Yes.
market fit or internal change. So, one thing, war zones taught me that product market fit is not about the product, nor is it about the market. It is about the conditions around both, what we call as the context. Okay. In a
Okay.
conflict zone, even a perfectly designed ICT tool could fail if the power grid is unstable, if people fear being seen using something that's not preferred, or if the user journey involves walking through unsafe areas. It doesn't matter how elegant your solution is if the environment makes adoption risky. Okay. And this insight applies directly to internal change as well. People don't resist new tools because they resist the consequences of using them. So, if a new system threatens status, safety, or workload, no amount of training will fix it. So, what did the war zones teach me? I learned that success depends less on what you build and more on whether the environment and the people inside it feel safe enough to adopt it. So that's what I learned from the Watsons, and it is a big lesson for me. I would say one of the most enhanced wisdoms of it kind.
No, that's a big learning for us as well, because we have never talked to someone who have been there actually on the ground operating, learning things. So that's something that is new to me as well, and for our audience as well. I think most of them I would have gotten these insights. So
Yeah.
now let's talk about how did your UN experience shape your leadership style in tech? What's one project that broke you and what's one that rebuilt you?
You're asking all my secrets. Okay.
So we are selling the secret sauce today.
But anyway, it's not a secret. It's a secret that even, especially failure, is something people try to protect closely, right? So
Yes.
I won't say it's really failure, but let me try to answer your question in a better manner. So my UN experience, it actually reshaped my leadership in tech by teaching me that calm is more powerful than control. In high risk environments, you can't lead by panic, ego, or perfectionism. Okay, so you lead by clarity, empathy, and steady presence. When you carry this straight into tech, where the stakes aren't life or death, but the human emotions can feel just as intense, right? Because end of the day, we are still working with humans, whether you're in a
Yes.
conflict zone or not a conflict zone. Back home, I would say, I'm saying back home because in the UN I didn't face anything different in terms of failure or anything like that. So I would say back home here in Hyderabad, whatever, in India, a project that broke me was where one of our teams burned out chasing a deadline without paying much attention to the core requirements of the client's business. And what rebuilt me was calling it out and taking in the client's fury and feedback constructively and together building the plan. So I value learning to lead through micro wins, one restored relationship maybe at a time, one safe workaround, one honest conversation at a time. So I stopped trying to fix everything and I start focusing on stabilizing people first and then systems, because it always boils down to people end of the day, and we are the
Yeah.
ones who have built the systems, correct? And
Correct.
this shift from managing tasks to stewarding trust, this is the leadership that I carry with me to every tech team that I work with.
Hmm. Very interesting. Thinking from the perspective, we are also doing tech projects. So
Yeah.
yes, mess happens, and sometimes client might say, "Okay, so now you have done this, but I want that." So all of those happens. But yes, honest conversations. I think that is something very important.
Right. Another thing I would like to add here is, on top of this, is that when you're working in a system, it's not that just one person fails or something like that. It is not just a project manager fails or a team member fails. There is nothing like that. When we fail together. When we succeed together.
We succeed together.
Because we are all working in a system. So something must be wrong somewhere in the way we are doing things. So we need to look at, reflect upon and see where the problem lies, and then work on it, not personalize it in any sense. Yeah, the appraisals and all would be affected in some at some point of time, but it also means that, but it is for good, right? Even if the appraisal is, I mean, people do worry a lot about their appraisals. That's what I've seen.
Yes.
So, and it is from that perspective that they always work when they're working in teams, especially in tech companies. So they
Right.
are worried about how their appraisal goes and whether they're going to get some award, reward, whatever. So I would say don't focus on all that stuff. Just bring your best to the table, do your best. You don't understand something, lean on others, take help from others. For example, I would take this lesson from, I would like to bring this lesson from my own uh, career. I would say that, like I mentioned during our introduction, I'm not a tech person. I absolutely know technology, but I know how people work. I know how systems work and what is the entire process of the SDLC process, start to stop, whatever, to closure. I know all that stuff. I understand when people are, trying to play games and they say, like, they try to overestimate or underestimate, maybe intentionally, maybe sometimes not intentionally. I mean, there are different types of people that you come across
Yeah.
in life, right? Everything happens. I'm not saying that it's about anything good, bad, or ugly, or whatever. But when these things happen, and especially on my first role as a project manager, I saw that, like, I experienced that a couple of team members, for whatever the reason, they just wanted to test me out, perhaps because they know that I'm not from a tech background. So they used to estimate higher. So let's say if it take 2 days or 2 man days or something like that, they would say like 5 man days kind of a thing. I knew there was something wrong with that kind of an estimate, but I couldn't exactly pin it out, and I was not in any position to actually
Hmm.
speak to them or ask them why they are estimating, why they were overestimating. So the best bet that I did was I lean on my architect, I lean on subject matter experts, and I take their help, and I help them I take their support in helping me validate this, but I don't challenge the team member directly. So I have that conversation with that kind of a team member with the support of subject matter experts, and then we try to see why that person is overestimating. Is it because it truly the scenario is truly like that, or is it they need some support, or they need some kind of different knowledge, or is this the first time that they're doing this kind of a job, in the sense new technology, maybe something. So I try to give them all these options, and I try to explore and see like what is the problem, where do they need support, where do they need it. So in this process what happens is the team members begin to feel comfortable. They realize it for themselves that they shouldn't be doing this. So even if they have done it like this for the first time and they don't want to go back on their word, the next time they don't play those kind of games. So this helped me a lot. So and it also helps me earn their trust, because they understand that I'm not only a person. I mean, it's not about messing up with a person, but it is like they're primarily messing up with the project. So they
Yeah.
understand that not messing up with the project helps them much more than doing these kind of things, right?
Yeah. Very clear.
Yeah.
So you have worked on ICT and crisis communication in some of the world's most challenging contexts. Without naming the specifics, what's something those experiences taught you about communicating when information itself can be dangerous?
Could you repeat the last portion of the second question?
Yes, for sure. So the question is, without naming the specifics, what's something from those experiences that taught you about communicating when information itself can be dangerous?
Oh my, okay. Yeah. So yes, I did work on ICT and in crisis communication in world's most challenging contexts, and I'm glad that I worked there. So these experiences they taught me that when information is itself is dangerous, then communication becomes an act of protection, not distribution. Because
Okay.
in crisis settings, you quickly learn that the goal isn't to say everything, it is to safeguard the right things. So the three principles I would say that emerged for me from based on my own experience is that share only. The first thing is that share only what helps, uh, and which never harms. Not, and don't share anything that harms. Okay, so you shift from nice to share to
Okay.
need to know. Accuracy matters, but so does timing, the audience, and the context. If a fact is delivered to the wrong person at the wrong moment, it can escalate risk. So that's the first principle or the lesson I would say that I learned over there, that sharing only what helps, never what harms. Then second one is silence can be a form of safety. I think I mentioned it earlier also
Yes.
once. Silence can be a form of safety in conflict zones, because sometimes the most responsible communication is restraint. You pause not because you're hiding something, but because you're assessing the impact of the visibility. So if you share that piece of information, what could be its impact? Who could it? Who might be affected? Will it ensure safety? These are the things that we look into.
That's
The
a lot
third
of
one
work.
is, yeah. So the third
Understanding
one is
psychologically.
correct, correct. So the third one is people first and information second. In dangerous environments, communication is not a PR tactic; it is a shield. So you have to choose words that protect identities, avoid inflaming tensions, and keep vulnerable groups insulated. Ultimately, these experiences also taught me that communication is not neutral. It is a tool, and in high-risk contexts, it must be used with precision, empathy, and intention. One needs to adhere to the boundaries of safety, respect, diversity, and also be impact conscious. Maybe if it is like if it's my sound my the answer seems like a bit complex, I would say like all the I would just repeat the three principles I would which I bank upon. So share only what helps, never what harms. Second one is silence can be a form of safety, how you use it. by through restraint and understanding, assessing the impact of the visibility of its visibility. The third one is people first, information second. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. And the third one, it's like a double-edged sword, I will say.
Yeah.
It can impact there, it can impact there. So very,
Yes.
very, very risky. It is. But yeah, I think that tells how you got all of this experience. Okay, I was just imagining as you were saying the kind of pressure it would be. So yeah.
Yeah.
So you have reinvented your career. I was about to say reinvented the wheel, but you haven't. But you have reinvented yourself multiple times, which is again something that most people are not able to do. And it's not just here in India, but across multiple continents, multiple industries. What's the invisible emotional toll of reinvention that people rarely discuss about? And how were you able to manage it? Of course, we know that you are that kind of personality who likes to do it, but still.
Yeah. So yes, I'm glad that you didn't say that you reinvented the wheel, because it's not the wheel that I reinvented. I reinvented myself.
Yes.
Okay.
That too multiple
That's
times.
multiple times, and I continue to do that literally every day almost, like and every role. So if you so I mentioned previously that I started my career as a tech writer, then I went into project
Yes.
management, program management. Again, I came back to tech writing. Okay, and then because of some personal challenge, and then I moved into the UN. There I moved into a role on around that was focused around business relationship management, involving innovation, process improvement, and all that stuff as well. Okay, so I would say when I have reinvented myself, my it is about the mind primarily. So the toll is identity loss, because you're not the expert anymore. You're always a beginner, and sometimes this may erode your confidence, because every time that I've moved into a new role, or maybe into a totally new industry, or into a new geographical zone, I was no more an expert. So when I moved from tech writing to project management, I knew a lot about tech writing. I was It was like a walking it was like piece of cake for me. But when I moved into project management at that point of time, it was totally, I was a greenhorn, totally kind of a thing over there. And while I was applying whatever I learned, maybe through PMP or maybe through whatever my past experience, I was also learning more and more about people, more and more about the real projects, because I'm truly into that role. So I would say, like, I managed it by telling myself that while this may be the first step in the new arena, I still have the wisdom and experience that I gained from my old self to bank upon, right? And I
Yes.
continue building small visible wins to rebuild a new sense of competence. So because the competence is the one that gets challenged when you're into a new role. And I would say, like, career reinvention is a profound reshaping of your professional identity and sense of purpose. Because at its core, reinventing your career is all about your mindset, a dynamic and proactive attitude toward both life and work. It calls for courage and the willingness to let go of past definitions, your comfort zone, adapt and learn new skills while navigating the intellectual and emotional challenges that come with evolving identity. So it's not like I have amnesia because I started on a new thing. It's about I'm learning something from scratch, or nor is it about I'm learning something from scratch in an alien world, because I still have my past experience. I do
Mm.
have transferable skills that I'm bringing in along, and I do have some knowledge that I have an expert in. And all through whatever domain we might be in, even if we have changed our domain, or if we have changed our career, job role, or whatever, we may still be new to the role, but our past experience, knowledge, that is something that we can always fall back upon. And there is always a common thread if you know how to relate everything that happens in your life. So I don't even look at career separate from my life. I'm a single person, single in the sense, I'm not talking about my marital status. I'm saying, like, as an individual, okay? As an individual, career is part of my life. And when career becomes a passion, it becomes my life. So everything that I do is connected to my life and my career. So there is nothing like career and life are not separate. They are one and the same thing. Yes, for ease of use, ease of reference, we may say my career, my life, my personal, this thing, my privacy. Those are the things. So, like I mentioned, it's not like I have an amnesia where I forgot everything and then I'm learning everything from the scratch in an alien world.
No, you said it very well, especially the part where you said that it's your passion. So I was able to relate, and I think the entrepreneurs who are watching, because nobody goes to business just for the sake of, you know.
Yes, yes.
so, so entrepreneurs can totally relate to the point,
Yeah,
and
there are always transferable skills, right? And you have the
yes,
wisdom that you have learned from your past experiences. The knowledge is there, everything is there. It is based on that you have made this decision to move
yes,
into a new role or a new domain or whatever you want to say, right?
yeah, and
It's
I
not
can
like you have
relate to that.
suddenly come into, you have suddenly jumped into something new totally.
When we started, so I was making creatives, I was doing the ads, I was doing the websites, then
Hmm.
I got someone, and then I moved it, then I was managing projects, then I got the project manager, then I was managing sales, then
Oh my.
so yeah, so I can totally relate to it. So I also have gone through that journey, so I will
Yeah.
say being jack of all trades, but yes, still understanding what the master does at all.
Right.
So you also have a book, right?
Yeah.
So based
Recently.
on your book, Bold Moves That Matter, reinvention often comes from discomfort. How does someone know when discomfort is a signal to grow versus a sign they are in the wrong place? And I think that most people get this wrong.
Yes. When you use the word discomfort, people associate it often with change
Yeah.
and they feel even more discomfort, right? So choosing reinvention is it's not about stirring up dissatisfaction for the sake of creating drama or chaos. It's about listening to that. I would say it is about listening to your own quiet inner voice that wonders what else could be there out for me. It's about having the courage to ask, is it possible that I could become more than what I am today? So that's where we talk about the context for reinvention comes from. So if the discomfort is about learning, stretching, or being challenged, then it's growth. If it's about constant dread, let's say a shame, or maybe you're fundamentally feeling fundamentally unsafe, it's a sign to leave. So in bold moves that matter, I call this as the growth versus gaslighting test. Yeah, it's a thorny path because change always comes with its share of discomfort, uncertainty, and growing pains, and of course, a lot of risks. That is the biggest risk, the discomfort part. But it's also the road to genuine growth. And more profoundly, I would say it's about self discovery, and it is often a richer and more textured kind of happiness. So it's not like, so the simple mantra or the simple litmus test kind of a thing I would say is that, yes, if growth is about, something, if I would say like discomfort is something about um, moving from a limited path, going on to a significantly discovering your unlimited self or whatever I would say. Maybe I'm not putting it right way. Maybe I would say like this. So if you're discovering more of your potential and you're going on that path, then discomfort is a signal of growth. But if there is, you're not talking about your potential, you're where you are, and then you feel bad about it, and you don't feel comfortable with it, you feel insecure about it, that it means that's really truly a discomfort, and you shouldn't be in that place.
Hmm. Very good answer, I will say.
Thank you.
I think that this is a separate topic we can do a full podcast on. I will say.
Okay.
Yeah. So now talking about right now
So
what is
maybe
happening.
before you ask me another question, maybe I should
Yes.
ask you: did you ever feel experience this kind of discomfort, whether
Yes.
individually or with your teams, or maybe your teams have felt it?
Yes. Yes. So earlier I used to be that person who used to hold on to everyone. So he is my team, and then no matter if so things are going wrong in the organization, clients are. So I used to think that I have to protect my team and I have to teach them and I have to do all of the thing. But then I realized as I got more mentors, so they told me that if you work with this approach, rather you go and work in a non-profit organization, you will perform better. I was like,
So I
how
believe,
do you do
especially
that?
when you're branching out now that you're
Yeah.
branching out, trying to scale up, there must be a lot of discomfort, right?
Yeah, there is a lot of discomfort every day. So some days I am like, why do I even come to office? As soon as I enter, people are like standing outside and when do I do my work? So in night I also do. So then also you keep on receiving phone because we are international. So Canada starts.
Yeah.
when here India work stops.
Yeah.
So sometimes it is discomfort, but yeah, now I think I am getting used to it. So
Yeah.
in entrepreneurship they say you start to have a thicker skin.
Sometimes
So
you feel
now,
like running away, and you.
yeah,
I mean, there were times in my life, in my career, when I wondered, like, why am I even taking this kind of new roles or challenging myself and all that? Why am I being so, you know, kind of foolish in one sense? Instead of opting for a stable life, the stereotypical life where you have a job, a good paying job, you have your own house, you buy a car, and then you have stash away some savings for your next generation and all that. Instead of that, why am I even moving to these areas? So there are times when I do feel overwhelmed, but yeah, but still, end of the day, that's my choice, and I'm happy with whatever choices I'm making.
yeah, and even so, what you say? Even I was like when I went to Dubai, I was like I was doing so good in India. Now where am I? Nobody knows me. What do I do now? Okay, let's talk to a few people. Okay, I got rejected. I got rejected. What do I do now? What do I do now? So for the first time, it was total chaos. Not able to understand what to do. Sitting in my hotel room, waiting for my visa, and then going out, talking to people, doing all the random things that I could have done.
Yeah.
But yeah, then actually, in that discomfort, you reach to a phase, then you think either it's this side or that side. Either you are able to do it or no.
Yeah.
So when that phase comes to me, so then I'm like, okay, now I have to do something. Let's think. Let's strategize. Sit
But
on
when
it.
you have achieved something that you wanted to, at that time, it's a different story altogether. You
Yeah,
feel so
it
happy
feels
about it.
different. It
Yeah.
feels different.
Yeah.
So by the time I had my visa in hand, I was able to get some good connects. I was talking to them. So those 15 days were like totally up and down. And then the next time, so it was again. So this story, I think I haven't shared it on. Oh yeah, I have shared on the podcast earlier. So I was able to get scammed for 1,500 dirhams, which is a lot of money in Indian context.
Right.
So that that was total like the heights of discomfort. I got in touch with wrong people, and then things got wrong. And it was purely with the intention of doing business. So I met them. Okay, they are owner of a restaurant. Let's do business. But then I found that they are doing something else, and I was getting into trouble soon. I got that feeling. Your gut tells you something in advance that something is about to go wrong. So all of those feelings, and then yeah, but yeah, it's good.
Good. Yeah.
I think these situations help us grow and evolve as a person. I will say that.
Yes. Yes.
So my evolution has mostly happened on discomfort, getting laid off, and then not knowing what to do. At when I was 20, I was here sitting here in Dehradun, and pandemic is happening. I'm seeing so many people dying, and then I think, okay, let's start a business. So
Right.
yes,
Yeah, I agree with you.
yeah. No, but yeah, and since you brought this up, even with AI. So when AI came in, everybody is like, people are gonna lose their job. Nobody is gonna stay in the industry. Agencies are going out of business. Everybody is going out of business. Then who is gonna do the business? AI. Okay, AI is gonna do business. Okay, let's see. So in 2023, that was the narrative. Everybody was talking about it. Then 2024, here we are implementing it. 2025, here we are. So I think that transition also helped me understand that yeah, it was concerning. But so now AI is coming to picture, our
Yeah.
margins are gonna drop. But then I realized it's like the industrial revolution, if you see. So that's a revolution that came in. So you have to adapt to it. Like when the smartphones came in, earlier marketing work used to happen on a piece of paper. Now it's happening on this, and now AI is coming. Videos are being
Absolutely.
generated. So yes, so I think yeah, discomfort and all of these things, they are a part of life. And if you have to grow as an entrepreneur, that is something you have to put yourself in those situations. I'm thankful to my mentor who pushed me, said you are going to Dubai to do the next big thing.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So yeah. So now talking about, so I brought the topic of AI. Everybody is saying AI is disrupting storytelling. AI is gonna replace, as I was just talking about. But in your view, what will never be automated in a brand storytelling or a stakeholder engagement, which you think that AI cannot replace?
So, what will never be automated in brand storytelling or stakeholder engagement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad that AI is around, being a writer, because it saves some of my editing time.
Yeah.
So I use AI like a slave. I won't call it an assistant. I literally use it like a slave. Okay. And AI is a great business in one sense, like for people who are building these different types of AI models and everything, right? Whether it's for
Yeah.
video, audio, whatever the reason, the purpose, right? So yeah, so what AI will never be automated. From what I discovered, so there may be many other things, but from what I discovered from my own experience is that I would say like real stories or stories from the field that are based on empathy, moral courage, or and the willingness to sit with silence and discomfort. These are the stories that AI will never be able to automate, because AI can generate words, but it cannot feel the weight of a decision. It cannot hold a space for grief or happiness or earn trust in a crisis. AI will never be able to do that, because these are human, they are not algorithmic skills. And even when AI tries to emote, so even I have tried this trick with the AI. Like, I say, let's say I give it a passage, or I have seen people also giving it a passage and saying, like, or some kind of a prompt, they will give it and they will say, try to add the human layer into this, or emote this particular passage like a human, rewrite it, kind of a thing. So even AI tries to emote, maybe based on your style, the input that you
Yeah.
have given already, or even if you haven't given a style, maybe on the whatever is available for it as the data, right, from its own data sources. So what it does is when it tries to emote, it still, I would say, it still doesn't emote well, because it follows familiar patterns and averages. So if you have tried that, just a very simple test, you take a passage from somewhere and then you put it into the AI as a prompt, and just give the prompt saying that, add some human emotion into this, maybe or a human touch into this passage, depending on the context, whatever that passage is about. So AI will generate and it will try to emote, but you will understand that, you will notice that it follows certain familiar patterns and averages, because the expertise can see the lack of the uniqueness immediately, because even when it emote, it still sounds some kind of stereotyping is there. So I would say, like, brand storytelling, stakeholder engagement, ultimately these two rely on human
Yeah.
qualities which AI cannot replicate, like two qualities, presence and authenticity. And these cannot be automated, because they aren't written and they are felt. So
Yeah.
yeah, that way
That's
I
true.
think that, even see, I have published my own book. I would say for authors who are relying on maybe Chat GPT or any other AI that they are comfortable with, uh, which they are using as an assistant or as a slave, like I'm using sometimes, right? When they're using it, I would say, like, even if they're trying to, one first thing is that for idea generation, you cannot ask, and you must not ask. The golden rule is, don't ask an AI to generate ideas. And when you're developing a story, don't put your original passage. I mean, you have your original passages that you have written, and you put them into the AI, and then don't ask it to emote, because AI, even if it emotes, it will still look stereotypical. It doesn't feel authentic. And people, people who are familiar with the author's world, or who are editors or publishers, they can easily make it out. They can easily understand. It's not, it doesn't, it actually takes away your credibility and authenticity. Whatever little bit you had, that is gone, like, forever. So use it maybe for refining your idea, or whatever, refining your idea, maybe for quick editing, maybe you can do something, but you can't, it is better not to. And stories, like what I'm saying, like real stories, even when I say real stories, I'm not talking about fiction or fact. When we say real stories, of course, it is about non-fiction only. Even
Yeah.
in non-fiction stories, you have something called business stories. You have business reports that you bring. I mean, though I would consider even a business report as a story, because it talks about how that business works, or it has evolved, or what it is trying to solve to a client, or to the founders, or to the teams that are working on it, right? So even to the executive leadership also, even the business reports are like stories only. I treat everything end of the day as a story. So when it's a story, these kind of stories AI will never be able to replicate, definitely not from real time.
Mm.
So I think that's where even people who are authors, who are writing whether fiction or non-fiction, and as when we come to fiction, I would say, like, slapstick humor stories, or something what you see, fantasy stories, what you normally see, any genre that you talk about, right? AI will easily replicate it. But if you're bringing in a lot of emotion over there, if you've done your, what I would say is, persona research and all that
Yes.
kind of a thing, if you have defined a persona and all that, and the journey and everything, and you're writing a story based on that, even if it is fiction, AI will not be able to replicate, it will not be able to automate.
Right.
But authenticity will still remain. So if you want to be an author, I would say rely on your guts, rely on your own ideas, rely on your common sense, which is little uncommon for many people, and rely on getting your stories from the field, whether it is fiction, non-fiction, whatever. Bring it from the field, and those stories will always be unique.
Hmm.
So,
And
do I sound like too serious when I'm talking
but
about this? I
no,
hope I'm
no.
not scaring people.
No, no. And I like the word. So when you said that even the business reports, they are stories. So
Yes,
that is something that is unheard of. And if you see the corporate world, it has become robotic. There are various emotions. But when think from the angle, so if I go to an investor won't talk to a robot. They are investing in the person. So the
correct.
deck has to portray, or the report has to portray
Yeah.
the story that you are selling to them. So
So what
that's
actually, what I would say, Anmol, is that this is not actually unheard of kind of a thing. I would actually say that business stories are stories people know that inherently by
okay.
intuition or whatever. Most of them, many people who are dealing with these kind of things, they know it actually, but they don't pay much attention to it
Hmm.
because if they
Subconsciously, I think they
yeah so
executed on
if
that
they
one.
invest some time and they pay some attention to it, they would actually bring it out like a story. Maybe sometimes people need to be trained on how to bring project it as a story so that it makes sense, there is a logical connectivity and flow all through, and it becomes then when you put a business report or even a business report like a story or whatever, when you even if you're using data, right, or if you're using information, all this you connect them properly and then you make it seem like a story, and then it actually conveys the message faster than anything else, because there will always be people around you who may not connect so well with the data. There will be people who are fast with analyzing things, understanding root cause analysis, not only just based on data but also the other information that is provided. So it makes it easier for different kind of audience, because when you're in the mixed audience setting, where some people are more technical in terms of understanding data, when more people are some kind of leadership is like certain level of the leadership is always around thinking around business and execution kind of a thing, then you put it in the form of a story, it resonates very well.
Hmm. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that makes it clear. So, how do you build trust when people are afraid to share information? What do you do that? What do you do in those situations?
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, now I remember. Okay, like I mentioned earlier during this conversation, the best thing is to build trust by going first. So that's what I used to do. I said, right? So when I was joining a new team, a new role,
Mhm.
or a new company, organization, whatever, new geographical area, wherever I go, you literally actually you don't have any option, no choice but to trust. And it is not that it's a weak point, it is not a weakness, it is a strong point if you choose to go by that, because that is the only option left first thing, and it makes all the more sense to actually trust build trust from your side first. So if you take the first step to building trust, then what happens is when people are afraid to share information, then the safest signal you can give them is your own transparency. So in the conflict zones where I worked, I learned that trust isn't built by demanding openness. It's built by modeling it. Like what we say typically in any lead by example, they say, right? That's the
Yeah,
most
lead by
famous
example.
phrase that people
Yeah.
use, leadership. Everywhere they say lead by example. So what is lead by example? This is lead by example. You take the first step, you start trusting people. Again, they say trust but verify. So when you say trust but verify, it is not about that you suspect the person, but you still are trying to trust that person at the same time. These things are not possible. So you trust but verify means you take the first step towards trust, so that you're creating a level of a transparent layer where the other person feels safe to communicate with you, to interact with you, to work with you. That is what you're actually doing. By doing so, what happens? Because of their response, usually there is a positive response, and then when because of their response, what happens? You also begin to feel even more comfortable, and then the trust gets built step by step. Verification part comes in, not about an individual or anything. We're talking about the work related stuff, where when you're using certain data, where you're following a certain process, is this the right process? Is this the right template I'm using? Is this the right data that I'm using? Am I using it in the way it is supposed to be used? Am I using it and building it for the right audience? Okay, these are all the things that you need to look at. So this is the verification part of it, because you truly cannot trust a person and also verify a person. You can never verify a person's character, and that is not to be done. It's wrong
Yeah.
too, right? So you verify the process, you verify the system, you verify the tools, the templates that you are provided with, and whatever knowledge you have. Yes, you can verify your knowledge too, and seeing at like what level it is, what is the expected level it is supposed to be. Okay, maybe it is at the expected level, but do I have the right knowledge? Am I using it in the right manner, where I'm supposed to use it, in what type of audience, in what type of context? That's the verification part. So when I share my constraints, blind spots, or the risks that I'm managing, right, then others will feel safer revealing theirs. This is true even in tech also, because three things matter that matter most here are that you show your intent clearly to build trust. Then people will open up when they understand why you need that information and how it will be used. Then protect what they share. If you handle early disclosures with care, confidentiality, and respect, more information will follow naturally, right? And
Right.
create a psychological cover. This is what another thing that I learned. So this is what. So this was there in the tech also to some extent, but not so very prominent. But in the conflict zones, this was very visible. So create a psychological cover where you normalize uncertainty, admit what you don't know, and make it acceptable to speak up without polished answers. So in any environment, whether it's a crisis zone or a corporate organizations or whatever, trust is not earned through pressure. It is earned through vulnerability, consistency, and the courage to listen before you lead. That's what I believe.
Wow. That's very clear and a lesson for us to learn from you.
I believe you have gone through all these things. Probably, maybe I should take the liberty to say that probably because you haven't not documented. Maybe because you're not an author, you're not able to see it so clearly. You know
Yeah.
it clearly, but maybe when it comes to it, probably you're not able to, you know, articulate it clearly. Maybe
Yeah, of course,
that's
because so with the startup world, you know how things messed up are. So you just
yeah.
keep on executing, adapting, learning. Okay, my mentor tells me this. Okay, I think I
Hmm.
can try this. If
Yeah.
okay, it works, then you just keep on implementing it fast. So yesterday with the so I was sitting. I got involved in another company. We are working on the metaverse of education. So they have been working for way long. I think since 2014 they have been on this project. So it was earlier a different project. Then 2020 it transformed into different one because of pandemic, and now it's a different thing. So everybody is discussing. Everybody is trying to look for investors. And then I told them, yeah, let's use AI to make the code for the POC, and then we can humanize it anytime.
Yeah.
So they were like, we have never thought of that idea. I said, no, we have to do it. We have to execute. We have to show something to the person. So
I
yeah,
mean,
so
maybe when you have the time and you actually put these your own experience together, right?
yeah,
As a founder, maybe as a leader, and as a team member. When you put this thing on paper, probably it will. Probably you will. I mean, you know that this is what happens in day to day when we are
yeah,
working, right? It is something that everyone experiences when you're an entrepreneur. So
yeah.
it's very
Well,
normal.
yeah, the episode with you is more of self-reflection. So I'm getting
Yes.
to know, okay, yeah, I do this, but yeah, first time I'm hearing it like this.
Yeah, so when you put it all together and you organize it properly, then it becomes easy for you to take those your own experience also forward and share it with your own team also,
Yeah. No, my
and they
partner
will
has,
understand it better,
my
and
mentor
that
has
makes.
asked me that you
Yeah,
write journal every day.
yeah,
For
that's
it.
a very good practice. Yeah, that's a very good habit. So even teams will connect to you, your team members will connect to you very well, to
Yeah.
your vision, to your stuff. That's
Yeah, but
also
I have
there.
not been able to get to the point of writing a journal because for me the day starts early and then it goes till like 12 or 1 and then I sleep.
Yeah. So
But yes,
actually,
from the
when
idea.
you mentioned this, it actually brings one more topic into discussion here. Just briefly, I'll touch base upon it. So the hiring part, why I mentioned
Yeah.
that teams will connect better with you is when it comes to hiring, recruitment, and all that, we recruit people on in different roles and all that, right?
Yeah.
And we try to onboard them. There may be some kind of induction or training, whatever. or some organizations may not have that, some organizations have it. It is important to have that, but some level of training, some kind of
Yeah.
induction will always be there. So it's not that you're able to always get the right hire. It's very difficult to get the right hire. Right hire typically means most of the time, I would say, like, an appropriate attitude, acceptable attitude. I won't say perfect attitude. Maybe acceptable level of skill set, because that's what we come. That's what's easy to come across, rather than saying a perfect fit. Then once they onboard onto our team or into our organization, we need to not only train them, but also when we share these stories, that's what actually refines the entire process for them, and they begin to onboard well, and they learn along the way. And probably when they connect to your story, to your vision, to what your business is about, not that you have to close everything and put everything in a secrecy, or in a secret box, or you don't box the information that is necessarily supposed to go down the lane onto the teams. You must never box that information. So what is required for them, what is the product that we are working on, or what is the service that we are working on, what is my organization working upon, what is my role here. So if they are able to relate through their role to your product or and service, and to the organization and its culture, the culture will change definitely, and people will feel comfortable. And someday, definitely I'm saying someday, because there is no time limit exactly here, but yeah, maybe a little bit early in the cycle, they may be becoming your perfect hires, and those are the people that will stay with you in the long run, if I
That's the
continue.
highlight of the episode. That's the problem most entrepreneurs face.
Yeah,
Hiring is such a big issue. And then
yeah,
yesterday I was with this founder who is the founder of a community. He has
yeah.
1,000+ entrepreneurs. So he was also telling the same. For me, hiring is the biggest issue. I say, yeah, same here. I relate to that.
Sometimes we don't even get people with forget about the right attitude or somewhat acceptable attitude. We don't even know sometimes. We may even not have a choice sometimes in hiring,
Yeah.
because they are the only people available with, at least then at that point of time we only focus on their skill set, and we think that okay, we can groom them further and ensure that their attitude becomes great. So in ensuring that their attitude becomes great and it aligns, when we say great, it must align with your companies or organizations vision, whatever, right? All that. So when we do that, at that point of time, that's where this thing comes. Like if we bring back the founder's story, if we bring back the organization's purpose, the story, if we bring back the organization's business story back to the teams, the same teams that are actually building your product and service, if we bring it back to them and make it sound like a story, it resonates well, and that's probably something that will keep people stay together with you for in the long run. And that's where actually the filtering also happens. People who are not resonating, maybe they will realize, or they will think that okay, this is not my cup of tea, and they may move out. For you also, for as a recruiter or as a founder or whatever, you will also understand, like, I mean, we also understand that what kind of people we want, and that builds
Right.
the organizational culture, because it comes always from top to bottom.
Hmm. Right. Gives us a good HR lesson today. So the question is, getting back to what thing is harder, launching a product or is it writing and finishing a book? How are they similar?
Okay. What's harder, launching a product or finishing a book? How are they similar? Okay, yeah. I would say finishing a book is really harder, man, because there is no team. At least in my case, there was no team. There is
Yeah.
no sprint cycle. There is no stand up. There is no accountability. So I would actually start on these 4 points. Like there is no team, no sprint cycle, no stand up, no accountability, right? Since there is no team, there is nothing that I have to talk about. No sprint cycle that I'm not going to talk about. No stand up, I'm not going to talk about it. The only stand up I did was with myself. But the accountability part, how I made myself accountable, was I started publishing the dates by which, or the deadlines by which I wanted to finish the first draft, the second draft, maybe finish one chapter, the first chapter, the second chapter, these kind of things. I started publishing this, announcing this to my family, to my friends, to some of my former colleagues with whom I was regularly in touch.
So you were
Because
building pressure for
yeah,
yourself.
correct. Because I may lack the discipline. Sometimes it goes for a, it goes bonkers suddenly. It is possible. So generally, yes, I'm a disciplined person in one sense. But having said that, I will also say that I'm highly indisciplined in another sense, because when you are in the cycle of reinvention, when you're reinventing your career, reinventing, when you're saying reinventing your career, that is the outcome. But primarily, you're reinventing yourself. So the very first time when I'm writing the book, there were many times that I felt that, why did I even pick up this task? Why did I unnecessarily announce to everybody that I'm going to publish, I'm going to finish this chapter by so and so date, or I'm going to publish the book by so and so date? Why did I do that? If I hadn't mentioned that, if I hadn't announced that, probably I would have more leverage, more free time. I could probably watch a few Korean dramas or movies, or go out here and there little bit every day, and then again extend the timeline. But at the same
Nice.
time, doing holding myself accountable, announcing that helped me greatly, because it put me back on the track from a discipline perspective. It compelled me to write. It compelled me to look at discomfort in a very comfortable manner. Okay, that's what happened. And the other part of it was that, having published or announced all my deadlines, also ensured that I work diligently, stick to the timelines, and face. I'm very scared of facing. Of feeling shameful if I miss my deadlines. Yes, if there is some genuine reason, something like that, it's okay. But if not, I feel very shameful. I cannot look at myself literally, and I think, okay, what a rotten person am I, not to have discipline at this age, right? At this age, and what am I going to teach my children or people around me or the teams that I work with when I myself am not disciplined enough? So discipline is good, but at sometimes it is good to let go of discipline, because it brings in the necessary comfort, it brings in the necessary relaxation that you need, it brings in the necessarily new perspective around life about yourself, how bad you are or how good you are, or okay, it is good to forgive yourself. So that's the two sides of the coin around accountability, which I where I hold myself accountable. Okay, it's always about you
Yeah.
versus your own resistance every day.
Yes.
That's what I would say.
It's you
Because,
versus you.
yeah, so if I consider my book as a product, because it is a product, it has deadlines, it has stakeholders, users, and QA pressure. Okay, I don't have a team, but I'm still talking about stakeholders, users, and QA pressure. Who are my users? My target audience who are going to read the book, even the beta readers. I'm not even talking about actually after I have published the book, but users in terms of beta readers. So before I launched my book, published my book, right? So I formed a team of, uh, a cross section of people, like from friends, family, former colleagues, and even some people I never met in my life, and or rather I met them for the first time in my life. I requested them, and I said, will you please be my beta reader and give whatever feedback you feel like? And there is no template. So there are my users. That was the QA part of it that they did. So they were the beta readers, were the initial prime users of the book. The QA part of it they had done by testing it, by reading and reviewing the book. The stakeholders were the people to whom I had published. My product had deadline. I had to publish it by so and so date and so month. Having said that, I would also say that a book has silence, and silence is brutal, because now you are also asked the other question, how these are similar, right?
Yes.
Launching a
Yes.
product versus
How
finishing.
they are similar.
So I'm
Correct.
saying because is in relation to that, because they're surprisingly similar in three ways. Whether you're publishing a book or you're launching a product, it's surprising three ways. Both require ruthless clarity. If you don't have clarity, you'll not be able to create a product, nor will you be able to write a book. In product development, unclear requirements they sink timelines, and in writing, unclear themes sink chapters. And both demand iteration. You have so in for a book you have, like, you don't ship a one of the book without feedback, right?
Yeah. Never.
Same thing
That's
applies
how
to
a
the product.
product is also like that. Yeah.
Same
You
thing applies to the product. So
POC
product also, you
MVP.
cannot ship version one without feedback or without QA and all these things. And you
Right.
don't publish a book without rewriting it at least a dozen times.
Oh my God.
You
So
keep
how
on
many times you wrote your book?
Yes. And the first person to read that book is myself. I mean, if I have written my book, I must read that book, not, and I should not get attached to it, thinking that, oh, it's my baby, I need to love it. I have done so much work, I've written 200, 300 pages. Doesn't matter. End of the day, I need to put myself in the reader's shoes for a book. and read it with unattached or detached eyes, attached or detached in terms in forgetting that I'm an author, right? And
Yeah.
read it critically. And if I don't like it, and if there is something that's there is a gap in it, I must really work on it. Deadline or no deadline doesn't matter. I really need to refine it. Okay, for the product, it is the same thing.
Yeah.
If you can't use your product, if you don't like your product, if you don't like for your, let us say it is a tech product, okay, some software app or whatever, right? If you don't like its color palette, you don't like the way it's the navigation is done, okay, maybe it is functional and everything, but still, end of the day, it doesn't give you a great feel. You don't feel proud of it, then that is there is a problem. So both demand iteration. The third part is that both are built for someone else. It's not for you,
Correct. And I
right?
think that's where most people go wrong. They
Yes.
fall in love with their idea and they say, "Oh yeah,
Yeah. So your business is all about building it for somebody else.
yeah."
A book fails only when it satisfies. A book fails when it satisfies only the author and it doesn't satisfy others.
Same with the product.
Yes. A product fails when it only satisfies the team. So if there are bugs in it, if there are issues with it, and you can't go to the market. It is not. It is neither then a product market fit, nor is it a context market fit. So the product challenges your coordination muscles, and the book challenges your courage muscles. Why? Because when you write the book, what happens? You're putting in all your energy, you're putting in all your thoughts and everything. Who knows? Someone may say, hey, what kind of a silly book is this? What kind of a silly story is this? So you need a lot of courage.
Right.
Yeah. And the product challenges your coordination muscles. It's all about how cohesive your team is, how well they're in sync, how much they understand the requirements in the same way, in the same manner as the client wanted it to be, or as your, and how you are actually meeting the deadlines and it. So one forces you to manage complexity. That is, the product forces you to manage complexity, and the book forces you to face yourself, face your own knowledge gaps, face your own skills, face everything.
Wow. So now I have a lot of information when I write my own book, what I need to do and what I don't need to do.
Yeah, be sure to take my support.
Yes, of course, of course. We will. I will reach out to you. So let's say if your fictional characters had to join a real world product team, who would make the best product manager and who would be terrible? Who would be a terrible stakeholder?
Who would be the best product manager? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I wish that my fictional characters would never get into this kind of a terrible stakeholder and best product manager role. But anyway, let me say this: like, my best product manager would be the character who's endlessly curious and annoyingly persistent. I'm like that because that's what I think. That's the best thing, and the one who keeps asking why, even when everyone thinks we are done. This exactly resonates with me. So the best product manager would be the character who's endlessly curious, annoyingly persistent, and the one who keeps asking why, even
Why?
when everyone thinks they're done. In fiction, that's the character who walks into a room and immediately spots the thing that nobody else noticed. And they would run user interviews like detective interrogations and never accept a vague requirement. That is PM gold for me. That is the best product manager. The worst stakeholder. Oh my! I came across both in my life, and I had the opportunity. I had been fortunate enough to work with both the kinds. I'd say fortunate enough because the worst stakeholder also I learned a lot of lessons from.
Yeah, of
Okay, the
course.
worst
The worst
stakeholder.
people teach you the most.
Yes. Yeah, it also depends. Like, it's not like anything is most or anything. Sometimes when you have all the good things, then you learn most from worst stakeholder. That's how it is. So the worst stakeholder, I would say, it's the villain, the visionary villain, who has no clue about execution. So he always says, "This person." Sorry, don't go gender wise here, but I'm using the word, the pronoun he. I'm not meaning about anything about men or
Okay.
women, anything specific. Let us say this individual, the visionary villain, this individual who he's a visionary but has no clue about execution and says that, uh, hey, I'm a visionary. I don't need to get into execution. I'm a visionary. I want the city to be like this. I want my constituency to be like this. I want so and so to be like this. Now I have passed on the message. I have conveyed my vision to you, and this. Now you look into the execution. There are these kind of
People as well.
yeah, very interesting people. So this is a kind of character with the dazzling ideas. They have zero constraints and they come with a dramatic monologue ready for every meeting. These
Hmm.
kind of visionary villains, they actually derail every sprint with what if we pivoted the entire roadmap to my new idea, not the organization's idea, not the organization's business, okay, to my new idea. And they would demand it like by tomorrow I want this, or I want it to be done in so and so by timeline. And so this is like one character that pushes the product. So the product manager, the best product manager would be the person who pushes the product toward clarity. And the worst stakeholder is the person who pushes the team toward therapy.
Therapy.
Those people go mad.
Yeah,
You would
we
need
have done
therapy
some
for that,
projects like that.
right?
Yeah, that that's a good answer. I, in my head, when you were saying that, so I was thinking about Steve Jobs, but then I said no, Steve Jobs was still at least better.
Yeah. You come across people like this every now and
Yeah,
then.
yeah, yeah. I have. So there was this project that never got delivered. It was like, though it was on paper a 3 month project, but went long for 2 years just because of all of these reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have also met these people in real life. They are fantastic as people, not as stakeholders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now talking about your book. So your book on career reinvention, emphasizes meaningful reinvention, not cosmetic changes. So what's a myth about career pivots that your book directly challenges?
Okay. The myth that reinvention means starting from scratch. This is what my book directly challenges, because in Bold Moves That Matter, I argue that every past role, whatever your role might be, let's say if I take my own life, I didn't talk about my life over there, by the way, but let us say if you look at my career, whether it was UN, tech writing, project management, whatever, each of these roles, so each of the past roles for an individual, they give you transferable superpowers. And the bold move is all about connecting them intentionally. Okay. So the biggest myth I challenge in bold moves that matter is the idea that a career pivot is a fresh start, because it is not. It is not a fresh start. A meaningful reinvention is not about wiping the slate clean or wiping your mind clean, right? It is about carrying your hard-won skills, your scars, your stories, your battles, whatever you learned from them, into a new direction with intention. So it is with intention. So you never do a career reinvention because uh, a career invention doesn't happen without any intention. I would say if someone says, I moved from this role into another role, so I have reinvented my career, that is wrong, because that needs to happen with an intention. It has to happen consciously. Okay. And cosmetic pivots are all about escape. So if I say I hate this job, let me pick a different one, then it is all about an escape. So meaningful pivots are all about evolution. What part of me is like you're questioning, where what part of me is ready to grow, and what part of me is coming with me into that new role. So often I see that we romanticize starting over, but most people don't need a new identity. So reinvention doesn't mean again you need a new identity. So all that they need is a new application of the identity that they already have. That's the core of the message of this book. So because your next chapter is not disconnected from the last one, it is built from it. It is built on
That
top
is
of it,
good.
right? That's what it
Yeah.
is. So even that's what I'm doing. So let's say I started as a tech writer. It was all about writing. Okay, even before that, let me say I did my journalism and communication course, masters
Yeah.
in journalism and communication. That was in a way a writing course, a communication related course. I went into tech writing, communication and writing, right? I went into project management. There was a lot of documentation that I had to do, the requirements documentation I had to review, the project charter, all these things. Again, around documentation, what we call as in a different sense, a project story, right? Again, it is about communication and writing skills. So all through, if you see these three roles, they had there. It was all about transferable skills. The management part of it, the writing part of it, the communicating part of it. Okay, all these, and then working with teams,
Working
being
with
a
teams.
team member, right? Uh, Even if you're leading a supervising a team or you're leading a team, you're still part of the team. You're not away
Yeah.
from it. You're part of that team, right?
Okay.
So these are all the transferable skills. When I joined the UN also, so I was into some level of corporate communications. I was into business innovation requirement. So again, communication was involved here because I had to speak to the stakeholders, to our customers or clients as we call, and then process improvement. Again, you're communicating. Again, you're using your writing skills and everything, and trying to actually, when you say writing, I would say documenting skills maybe in a different sense. You work on the SOWs, then you
Yeah.
work on the MOUs, you work on the SOPs, all these. So all these are transferable skills because end of the day, if I put them all together, it is all about communicating, communicating, communicating. Whether it is in a verbal form, whether it is in a documentation or a writing form, where okay, or any other visual depiction, it is the same. So it is all connected. So I brought all these things when I wrote my book. Now I'm going to take this forward into whatever business I may build in future, or into whatever job role I
Yeah.
may get into in the future. That's what it is all about.
Got it. So, what does bold move mean to a 25-year-old listening to you today? How can they
Why do
prepare?
you have this penchant for a 25-year-old PM man? Okay, anyway, I'll go with it. I won't challenge you. Yeah, please ask your question.
No, I put it because I am 25-year-old.
Oh, so you're talking about the Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. I don't know what other gen will come in the future.
So, how can they prepare for a meaningful career without burning out?
Okay. Um, for a 25-year-old PM, I would say a bold move is not about quitting your job or jumping industries or chasing titles because of the age factor. So I'm keeping in mind here, I'm very mindful of the fact that this PM is 25-year-old. That's the age we are looking at, right?
Right.
So at the age of 25, it is your career is not about quitting your job or jumping industries or chasing titles. It is about choosing a direction over speed. So there are people, even when I was 25-year-old or when I was in 20s or whatever, I've seen like many people, okay, they want to earn faster. They want to get into supervisory roles or, into executive leadership or anything faster. Or they want to earn money faster. They want to get titles faster. Okay, today I was an engineer. Tomorrow I became a team lead. Then I became a tech lead. Then I became something else or manager, officer, whatever. So that is a thing that they shouldn't be chasing after. They should be choosing direction over speed. Because at that age, the boldest thing that one can do is invest in skills, relationships, and
Yeah.
habits that will compound over the decades instead of
Right.
trying to fast track your resume, right? And to prepare for a meaningful career, to answer other part of the question, to prepare for a meaningful career without burning out, three things matter. Build depth, not velocity, not just velocity. Okay, so learn one thing so well: storytelling, research, thinking, systems thinking, so that it becomes your signature. Because mastery will protect you far more than hustle. What happens when we talk about building depth? Many people will feel uncomfortable, will feel challenged, tend to feel challenged rather on building depth because they think, okay, I'm going to be in this organization or in this role for so and so time, and right now these kind of roles are in the like boom. So let me make the most money possible because money is one thing that we need in life. 80% of our world or maybe 90% of our world is driven based on money. You step out of the home, every time you need money,
Correct.
and then you need status, so you chase titles, right? So they will think, okay, if I want to build depth, maybe I have to be in these kind of roles only, not go to the next level. If I'm spending or investing my time on building depth, who cares about depth these days? This is another kind of mindset that I have come across in my experience, where they see that why should I build depth when I can make quick money, when I can earn money 10 times, 100 times than what someone is spending their time in investing in building depth. So that is one thing. The other part is choose leaders, don't choose logos. Don't think that I must go to this company because this company is great in terms of logo. Choose good leaders because a great manager will always shape you more than a famous company ever will. Align with people who stretch you, they don't, they shouldn't be draining you. They shouldn't drain you. So choose people, choose leaders who will shape your career in terms of knowledge, in terms of experience, in terms of wisdom, in terms of really growing, building that depth. Choose those kind of people. Don't align with people who stretch and drain you. That's another part. The third thing is that design your micro boundaries very early, because 1 hour of deep work a day, one skill goal per quarter, one honest check in with yourself every month. If you do this, then you are bound to build your depth. Because burnout doesn't happen overnight. It happens when you outsource your priorities. So you need to
Right.
prioritize well. You need to know what is your priority. You need to define your boundaries properly. When we say micro boundaries early, it is we are talking about goals in one sense. Because to reach your goal, let's say 6 months down the lane, 1 year down the lane, or 2 years down the lane, you want to be at so and so level. Fine, great. But to be at that level, if you still need to perform well and have a great appraisal, and to be respected for your knowledge, to be respected for your whatever kind of leadership. So leadership doesn't mean by title; it can also mean by skill. So you're a great guy to go to guy for some kind of maybe in Java, maybe in Python, whatever it is, or maybe you're a very good designer,
Yeah.
right? Your UX, UI, whatever. People will come back to you. They will prefer you. They want you as part of their teams, as part of their companies, right? So if that is your goal, like if you want to, so when you move from level 1 to level 2, considering that level 2 is a superior role as compared to the level 1 where you started, then at level 2 also you need to perform. Today you are good at level 1, you're performing well, you're known well, you're respected, fine, great. But if you lose focus of what has kept you steady, what has earned you that respect, what has brought you that kind of money in this role at level 1, you need to continue the same thing, because you want to continue being the same thing in level 2 also. But at level 2, when you're moving there, if you don't focus on depth, if you don't focus on the extra skills, whether it is soft skill or hard skill or whatever skill, whatever is needed to be successful at that level, at level 2 also, if you don't bring those, then you may lose all these good things, right? So
Right.
then burnout will happen also, because you have not been prepared and you're struggling, you're trying, then you get into a kind of a burnout happens mostly when you're in a survival mode, or when you're overworked because of maybe not so great work culture. At least from your side, you have to ensure that whether the work culture is good or not, maybe whether
Ah,
you made a good choice or a wrong choice by entering
right.
into a company or into a role. At least from your side, if you have the expertise, if you have the depth, if you have an inkling and idea about where you're going ahead, what you want to be, half your problems are gone. So a bold move at 25 is not about being dramatic. It is about being deliberate. It is choosing a path that builds the person you want to become, and not just the job that you want to hold. That's my take on it.
Got it. I think that's awesome. And we have covered most of the questions that we have. But wait, we have a few
Yeah, I
short
lost your
questions that
voice
I would
for a
like to
moment. Could you
discuss.
repeat?
Okay.
Could you
So,
repeat again? I lost you for a moment.
yes, yes. So I was saying that we have covered it all. Like we have discussed most of the questions that we had. But then I have these few small questions that I think will be a value add on to the audience. So
Right.
these are very small ones. So, what did you learn about silence as a part of communication?
Oh,
So
you're
you
saying
have
these are small
answered.
questions, but these are a little bit lengthy in terms of response. But I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. So
Yeah.
you're asking like what I learned about silence as part of communication, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say, yeah, this is a very good question, very important for many people to understand. Even for myself, I keep reminding myself about this. So silence taught me that communication is not just about what you want, what you say. It is also about what you protect, what you observe, and what you allow others to reveal. So, in conflict zone or in the UN, silence could mean, I would say, more in conflict zones, silence could mean safety, survival, and respect for others' privacy and rights. Because you learn very quickly that not every truth needs airtime and not every moment needs your voice. Silence can prevent escalation, it can give someone a dignity, or it can keep people safe. Now, in corporate spaces, it's slightly different. Silence becomes a different tool. It signals presence, but when you pause, people lean in, they think and they reveal more.
Mm.
The biggest lesson is that silence is not about the absence of communication. That is, silence is also a type of communication. In fact, it is the amplifier. It's the presence of judgment. It's about guarding what matters most. It's a signal of wisdom. And because sometimes the smartest thing that you can do is protect someone else's story. It makes your words matter more when you finally choose them. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Got it.
silence is not a weakness. That's what I'm trying to say. So
Got
silence is not a weakness. It is a very strong thing, uh, provided it is used in the right manner. And it must be used in the right manner.
Got it. So next question will be in 2030. Will the best product managers be MBAs, GPT natives, maybe AI agentics, or ex storytellers?
Okay, I will remove the 2030 part because I don't know what will happen in 2030, frankly speaking. Okay, but the other part of the question, will the best product managers in the future, whatever that future, whether it's next year, 6 months later, 10 years later, 5 years later, doesn't matter, whether there'll be MBAs, GPT natives, or ex storytellers, I would say, like, the best product managers would probably be ex storytellers because they already know storytelling
Yeah.
and they're fluent with, especially storytellers who are fluent with AI, not the other way around, not the storytellers who don't know AI. They need to know AI. But MBS will still matter because for their structure and strategy. And GPT natives, I think they also matter, of course, because they will have speed and technical fluency. But the PMs who will rise are the ones who can do what AI still cannot do, which is sensing human emotion, building meaning, creating alignment, and translating chaos into clarity. So a storyteller PM can actually, yeah, turn data into decisions, turn features into narratives, turn teams into believers, and turn ambiguity into momentum. So if you pair that with AI as an amplifier and not as a crutch, and you get the PM of the future, a human at the core with a machine augmented at scale, not a cyber person, not a cyber human, but
Yeah.
this is what it is.
Got it. Now the final one. And it's an interesting one. So, if you could bring one UN discipline into the private tech world and one tech habit into the UN, what would you swap?
I would ask you to repeat the question so that it sinks.
So, my question is, if you could bring one UN discipline in the private tech world and one tech habit into the UN, what would you swap?
Oh, okay. Uh, this is something that I really like. So, from the UN into the tech, I would say I would bring a context sensitive decision making.
Okay.
Because in the UN, every action is assessed for unintended consequences as to who gains power, who loses access, who gets put at risk. If tech applies this kind of a discipline, we would see fewer harmful rollouts, we would see fewer algorithmic biases, and far more responsible innovation. Okay. And from tech, what I would bring back, rather, I would love to bring back into the UN when I'm back into the UN again, is rapid prototyping. Because UN often tries to build solutions for complex problems, which can take years. And tech teaches you to test small, learn
Yeah.
fast, and iterate based on reality and not assumptions. Okay. So a simple pilot can save millions, sometimes even lives.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So the swap is that, tech needs more conscience, the context sensitivity part of it. And a place like UN needs more momentum to build things faster. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that answers it very well.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. I think we have covered it all.
Yeah, I hope
So,
so.
first of all, to our audience, thank you so much for you to
Thank you, my dear.
watch us and hear us out. And then, second, Suryakantham, thank you so much for being here, for giving us your valuable time and giving us the insights in such a way, that has never been happened on a podcast. So, thanks to you.
I
And
must also
before,
thank you. I must also thank you before you end this. So the part is that, I'm glad that you asked me many relevant questions that are very useful. And I enjoyed all these questions, answering all these questions, because typically these kind of questions, I think it's very hard to ask people who come from the corporate world, because probably I'm hoping that the mix of corporate experience that I have plus the UN experience or the conflict zone experience is something that will add value to the audience, and something that they can take back importantly, because it offers a little bit different perspective. I won't
Right.
say it is a very unique perspective. Probably people know about it to some extent, but probably it gives a more rounded perspective around product management or product market fit or whatever. Because I'm talking about context market fit, where usually in corporates we talk about product market fit. We are talking here also about context market fit, because the context also matters, because your product may be sometime tomorrow in the conflict zone. What then? Right? It is from that perspective. And I'm really happy that you asked me all these questions and have given me this opportunity. Thank you very much, Anmol.
Thank you, Suryakantham. And on that note, I would like to say thank you, everyone, once again. We will be back soon with another exciting episode on our podcast series, The Young Tuck Dialogues by Crobstacle. If you have any questions, you can let us know. You can directly reach out to Suryakantham. We'll put her LinkedIn thing down in the description. And do engage, do share this episode with someone who you feel will be getting value out of it. And then stay tuned. Till then, have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you, Anmol.